Hey everyone, I'm Noah, and this is Analog Resurgence, and today we're going to be talking about Super 8. I've encountered a lot of people who are really curious about various analog formats and exactly what it takes to get into them. One of the more interesting formats is Kodak's Super 8 film. So today we're going to talk a little bit about not just what it is, but a little bit about the history and, importantly, what's available for you guys to shoot currently. Almost everyone has heard of Kodak's Super 8, this kind of lo-fi amateur format that your parents or maybe your grandparents showed you home movies on. But what exactly is it? Well, before there was Super 8, there was regular 8. Regular 8mm, also sometimes called standard 8 or double 8, was a motion picture format released by Kodak in the 1930s that was designed to be easier, more accessible, and cheaper to use than 16mm or 35mm motion picture at the time. A single frame of 8mm film was 4.8mm by 3.5mm. So incredibly small. 8mm comes on roll. It's very similar to 16mm, with perforations down both sides, but double the amount of perforations that 16mm had. Now, once you shot it and sent it to the lab, they actually slid it down the middle, spliced it back together, and then gave it back to you. And then you had a roll to put through your projector and show to your friends and family. Naturally, this was incredibly popular for Kodak because it was a format that allowed amateurs all around the world to be able to shoot their home movies in a time where a film was literally the only format that allowed you to do that. It was cheap and affordable, but Kodak decided it could be even easier. In 1965, Kodak launched the successor to regular 8mm film, Super 8. Super 8mm not only offered less sprockets and an even larger image size on the film, which was now 5.7mm by 4mm, but it came in an even easier system to use than regular 8. Plastic cartridges. The film starts on one side of the cartridge, and as the film is shot through the camera, it spools up onto the other side. These could be easily loaded into cameras without fear of accidental exposure or complicated threading. Super 8 cameras were now primarily battery operated, using AA batteries, whereas regular 8mm cameras, which were mainly spring-wound cameras such as Brownies or Bolexes. It meant anyone could shoot it. Moms, dads, kids, grandparents. All you had to do was put this plastic cartridge into your camera and away you went. In the 1970s, they even made sound Super 8 film, which had a strip of magnetic tape down the side for cameras that could capture audio. However, that film is no longer made. So if you have it, it's kind of useless. So after decades of this wonderful little format enjoying massive popularity from amateurs and even professionals worldwide, it was slowly eclipsed by what people considered to be superior formats, including the VHS camcorder and the HD camcorder. In 2012, the future of Super 8 and all photographic films in general was thrown into doubt when Kodak announced bankruptcy. For a period, it looked like all these analog formats would disappear, or at the very least become far less accessible. However, over the past 6 years, we've seen Kodak make drastic progress in turning things around. And in 2015, they even signed a renewed supply agreement with major Hollywood studios to ensure that these formats would live on, even in a primarily digital industry. Luckily for us, that also meant that Super 8 had a future. Kodak has made a push for Super 8 film for amateurs. Kodak announced that they would even be making a brand new Super 8 camera. Now, of course, this camera still has yet to come out and also might have an enormous price tag attached to it. Yeah. In 2017, Kodak even announced that they would be bringing back a previously discontinued Super 8 film stock, Ektachrome, which Kodak themselves had discontinued in 2012. And unlike their camera, in October of this year, Kodak successfully did it and brand new Ektachrome hit the shelves once again. So enough about the history of the film. Let's take a look at what Kodak makes right now for you guys to shoot if you want to do it. Currently, Kodak offers 5 different Super 8 film stocks. And these stocks are made up of 3 types: color negative, which must be digitally transferred, black and white reversal, and color reversal. Reversal film, or slide film, is film that actually comes out of development as a positive, which means that if you own a Super 8 projector, you can actually watch the film like it was intended. But of course now the standard is to have your film transferred onto a digital format. All Super 8 film comes in plastic cartridges of 50 feet. Cameras shooting at 18 frames per second, which is the standard projection speed, will get you about 3.5 minutes worth of film. But cameras shooting at 24 frames per second, which is a digital standard, will get you about 2.5 minutes worth of film. Kodak's color negative film stocks are Vision 3 50D, Vision 3 200T, and Vision 3 500T. Each type of film available has an ISO, or ASA, which is the light sensitivity of it. The lower the ISO, the lower the grain in the image as well. Vision 3 50D is the lowest possible ISO and the finest amount of grain. Because of its low ISO, it's meant to be shot outside on bright sunny days. 200T is a nice medium speed film and is meant for tungsten balanced light indoors. And 500T is the highest ISO possible and works really well in low light interiors. The tungsten film can also be shot outside under daylight using an orange filter that a lot of cameras have built in. Now for reversal film. First up is Kodak's Tri-X black and white reversal. This is a 200 ISO film and has nice grain and beautiful contrast. And best of all, it looks amazing when you project it. Kodak is famous for having had two different types of color reversal film throughout its lifetime, Ektachrome and Kodachrome. Kodachrome no longer exists and is now an obsolete emulsion, which uses a chemical process that just doesn't exist anymore. Now, really importantly, these Kodachrome cartridges are actually useless because the film inside of them just isn't worth shooting anymore. And you should never pay money for them because they just aren't worth it. But because Kodak officially reintroduced Ektachrome, you can shoot it once again. Ektachrome 100D is a fine-grained, daylight balanced color reversal film, and currently the only widely available color reversal film for Super 8 being made. It's exciting to see Kodak actually bring back Ektachrome because it looks like Super 8 is actually here to stay. And it's found a home amongst amateurs, artists, and professionals alike. I really hope that you guys have learned some stuff from this video, and that most importantly, it's encouraged you guys to check out Super 8 and find out even more about it. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you enjoyed this, consider subscribing and checking out more analog content that I'm gonna be posting every week. In upcoming videos, I'll be talking even more about cinema film, including what to look for when you're trying to get your hands on a Super 8 camera of your own.